Hello, I'm Reese. I'm here with the team behind the Legend of Ochi. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Finn Wolfhard.
I'm Isaiah Saxon.
Okay, sweet. The first thing I wanted to ask is kind of what the inception for this idea was and kind of how you were able to get the ball rolling on it.
It's been a while since the seed of it came, but I do remember something about wanting a kid and an other, and that relationship to open her up. She's closed. There's a other. I didn't know what it was at first. It could have been an alien. It could have been a giant. It could have been anything, but I knew it was going to be about that relationship. And then one little good piece after another, you just start making a puzzle out of it, and then you realize, oh no, it's a primate, and
It's an Ochi.
and this is going to be about human-animal communication, and you just kind of start building the snowball from there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Finn, do you want to talk about how you came on board?
Yeah. Well, I got this. Isaiah is one of the greatest artists I've known in my life. I'm lucky to know him, and that to see Isaiah made this like unbelievable pitch video that was sort of outlined sort of the lore of the Ochi and the story and the concept art, and I was so taken by the video. I thought the video was like on its own, like such an amazing thing that I was like, yeah, whatever I can do to sort of be a part of this. And I was very, very interested just in the kind of film that it ended up being and that I got to be a part of. So I just got involved through this, a great video that Isaiah made, and obviously just being amongst like some of the greatest actors on the planet, to be able to learn from them and stuff was really awesome. So yeah.
Gotcha. It seems, at least from the trailer, I still haven't seen it, which much to my chagrin. I'm really excited for this movie, but it seems from the trailer like it isn't something that is so easily pigeonholed. Like it is not something that exists in a box. And I was curious, if you think that is one of the reasons why it belongs at Sundance, or what do you think are some of its strongest attributes that put it here?
I guess it belongs here just because it, even though it kind of turned into something that looks like a bigger movie, it was always a movie that was being made like swimming upstream, and everything was hard, and everything was not how movies are made now, and not the kind of movies that are greenlit. Like when you say you want to make a movie like this, people want it to be a Pixar movie, and that's not what this is. And,
Or they want Ochi to be established IP
exactly
behind the Ochi.
Yeah,
yes,
so
of
I
course.
think when I say it took 6 years to make, 3 of those years were just convincing people.
Uphill battles.
Maybe even 4 of those years were convincing people.
Jeez.
And so that, like when he talks about this pitch video he saw, that was like the culmination of just having to convince people over and over that like we could have nice things. We were allowed to do it the way it should be done, and it's just it's hard to get that type of thing made today. And I think Sundance is about celebrating doing the not normal things.
Yeah, celebrating original storytellers. I was curious, because we're at Audible, I wanted to focus on also just storytellers as a whole, and talk to you guys about some of your inspirations and also some of your favorite things.
Yeah.
So I was curious, we were just talking about Kubrick and some other filmmakers. I was curious if there's any authors, any writers, any filmmakers that you guys are really inspired by.
When I was writing, I was thinking a lot about Paris, Texas.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
a lot about George Saunders, and a lot about even kind of silly madcap things like Juzo Itami's Supermarket Woman and Tampopo. I think if you see the trailer, you're like, oh, this movie wants to be an Amblin movie. I didn't want to make an Amblin movie. So.
Gotcha. I was going to say, because from what you were describing, I was like, similar to E.T., but not.
I mean, of course, it's like Close Encounters and E.T. are like foundational for anyone who's seen movies.
Yeah.
And Jaws. These movies are just they're the air you breathe. But usually if you're making something, you're not drawing from the air. You're drawing from the thing that you've just seen.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, no, I mean, I there's an author named Nathan Hill. It's written some unbelievable books called The Nix and Wellness that I love. And yeah, I mean, I grew up watching a lot of sort of English, like older English films. They're sort of the kitchen sink dramas, and I find those like incredibly charming. But I also love like irreverent American comedy so much, and that's also what I sort of grew up in. And obviously, like as Isaiah was saying, like you can't, if you like film, you can't not just grow up loving and like loving the films of like Spielberg and any of those movies. And like I think also what I like about this movie a lot is you have these kids that are like, they're not just like it's a kid. Like I feel like there's a lot of stuff that comes out now if the kid is the main character, like it doesn't feel like the stakes are very high. There's not much danger. And I felt like growing up I loved watching movies where like it felt like there were real stakes for the kid.
Like The Incredibles, where the kids.
It's like,
I know,
they could
like
die. No,
they could die.
They could die, and like, and that, like, to me, like, I mean, obviously, this is a movie made for Ochi's made for everyone, and but I hope that the kids that watch this movie, like, I think it's really important for kids to watch these kind of movies because it like gives them a perspective, and like, there's so many movies I feel like from my childhood that you just felt like the characters were super lived in, and that like the stakes were very high and real.
Yeah, just going to the childhood thing, I think the movie and the voice that like really stuck with me was Roald Dahl's The Witches, directed by Nicholas Roeg.
Yeah,
and that
which is really upsetting.
It's deeply upsetting, and just it is, Roald Dahl through all of his work is such a guiding light because he does not suffer the fools that are adults, and he's just so grounded in like the righteousness of children and their ability to see through adults, and he enjoys being nasty and weird and strange and disgusting, and he's not doing that to pander to kids. He's doing that because it's delighting him.
Yeah, and kids like weird stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, kids are, in some ways, they just haven't received all of the bad ideas we've had, and so one of the reasons it was exciting to make a movie that would hopefully be accessible to kids is like they aren't bringing all of the boxes and preconceived notions of what anything is, and so it's just a more direct and authentic relationship they have with a movie than a lot of adults and even critics who want to say, oh, this is that and this is that and this is that, and everyone speaks through a language of references, and kids don't. They're just perceiving, So,
gotcha. And the last thing I wanted to end on is you guys are both writer-directors, and I was curious what it was like kind of just hanging out, working together, because I'm sure, like, literally just hearing you guys talk before we started, just about lenses, just about story, everything like that, it seems like you guys have such a lovely rapport.
Well, I just got to, it was before I made anything, and like I had made a short film and stuff, and I just loved filmmaking, and I was just like nerding out about everything, basically. I mean, with like Isaiah and his amazing DP Evan, like just being able to like see how they're shooting this, especially on the budget that we were at, and like the stuff that like we got away with, like the look just of the movie and everything, and it was just, I mean, it was a really just cool movie to just be around to watch being made.
And you guys were filming with horses, which are expensive. I know that horses are expensive to rent.
Yeah, and they weren't movie horses.
They were not.
They were like local rural horses.
No reason they're
but yeah, no, it was cool working with Finn, and in that he was just so deeply curious about the entire filmmaking process, and he's an amazing actor, but it was also like he's just a filmmaker, and so I had an ally who was, wanted to see the perspective of behind the camera the entire time, and it feels like every project you do, there's some actor who you're like, oh, that's actually their interest here. Is the filmmaking.
Gotcha.
And he was certainly that, Yeah, it was really cool.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Truly, this was lovely.